Pojam Kirlijanova fotografija danas je opće poznat. Ime je dobio po ruskom znanstveniku Semjonu Kirlijanu, koji je 1939. godine napravio prve fotografije sjajnog koronarnog obrisa oko lista i drugih organskih materijala, a taj bi obris ostajao iako bi dio lista nedostajao. Pola stoljeća kasnije isti je princip moderniziran. I opet se to zbilo u Rusiji, a glavni lik priče je profesor računarnih znanosti i biofizike Konstantin Korotkov. On je svoj softverski kompleks nazvao GDV, što je kratica od Gas Discharge Visualization ili vizualizacija pražnjenja plina. Do danas je Korotkov istraživao mnogobrojne primjene GDV kamere, tog prozora u svijet nevidljive energetske dinamike oko nas, uključujući i pitanje postojanja čovjekove životne energije i nakon smrti. Kako je sve počelo i dokle se stiglo, Konstantin Korotkov ispričat će ovdje. Na rubu znanosti. Dobar večer. Konstantin Korotkov je profesor računarnih znanosti i biofizike iz Rusije i Sankt Petersburga, vlasnik je 15 patenata, autor 200 znanstvenih radova i 10 knjiga prevedenih na 6 jezika. Dobar večer. Ono po čemu smo vas već imali u emisiji dok smo vas snimali na nekim konferencijama i čime se primarno bavite, od tuda ćemo krenuti i u prošlost i u budućnost, su neki uređaji koji su danas već postali u Rusiji i standard za mjerenje određenih osobina tijela. No prije nego što dođemo do uređaja GDV i vidimo kuda će nas ono odvesti po pitanju istraživanja i svemira i života i smrti, krenimo malo u prošlost. Svi danas znaju za Kirlijanovu fotografiju. No kada je u stvari prvi put uočen taj učinak, što se s njim događalo u Rusiji tih prvih 30-40 godina dok Semjon Kirlijan ga nije opet nanovo otkrio?
You see, the history of this effect, of this technology, comes from 18th century. In 1777, German physicist, philosopher, writer, poet George Lichtenberg found light coming from different subjects in electromagnetic fields. And it is known in physics like Lichtenberg figures, because he found the way how to record this on first on different dusts plates, then later on photo plates. So it was known. In 19th century, it was many people who was interested in this topic because it was found that you can see light around different subjects. It may be leaves, it may be crystals, it may be human body, even human fingers. And in particular, I need to mention Tesla, very famous inventor, genius, who was doing very interesting tricks. He was staying on the stage, he clicked his finger, and all his body was illuminated. So he did it, of course, with his own instruments, with his own technology. Then it was people in Brazil, it was people in Russia, it was people in Europe who was interested in this bioelectrography study. And they found that with this photography by 19th century, it is possible to make some analysis and predictions about human health. In particular, it was a Russian, Belarusian scientist Nartkevich Yotko who developed this very interesting technology, who did a lot of experiments. So it was very well known. But in the beginning of 20th century, it was forgotten. Why? Because it was found X-ray, Röntgen. And it was found that with Röntgen, you can see body from inside. Of course, it was tremendous discovery. It was huge jump forward for medicine. And compared with this, these faint lights was just unclear. So it was many papers in 19th century, many papers. And then it was nothing. Plus, of course, First World War, then Second World War, so it was all turmoil. That is why Russian researchers, family Kirlian, Semyon Kirlian, and his wife Valentina, they rediscovered this anew. I was lucky to meet Semyon Kirlian in 1978, when it was conference in Krasnodar, his native city, where it was celebration of his 80 years old. Because he made a lot of patents. He was given an honor of selected patent owner of the Soviet Union. At the same time, he spent a lot of attention to, I would say, non-classical part of this effect. So he was studying psyche people, and he had friends who was really deep-level psyche. He was studying different phenomena of human consciousness, and that was unclear for, by that time, very rigid Soviet science. So in 1976, Academy of Science became interested in what it's all about, because it was a lot of discussion about this in Western countries, about Kirlian effect, but nothing known in Soviet science. So it was given an order to the Academy of Science to find out what it's all about. And in particular, it was given to the Committee of Physical Electronics, led by academician Devyatkov. And he was outstanding scientist, really top-level scientist, and wonderful person, very open-minded person. And he came to our university, where by that time I was a young researcher, a Polytechnical University in Leningrad by that time. And he gave this order to university. And finally, this order was given to rector. Rector gave it to head of department gave it to head of laboratory, and then finally it was given to me. So it's coming like this. And after this, I made a big study in literature, because it was mostly English books, American books, and I was, by that time, I was able to read English quite well. And then I made a presentation about this topic on the session of Academy of Science of Soviet Union. And it was very well accepted. So this way how it was involved in this Kirlian effect.
Kada ste razvili GDV kameru, na kojim principima, koje je poboljšanje njeno tehnička dostignuća, odnosno elementi koji nisu bili dostupni u Kirlijanovo vrijeme, i na koji način zapravo ona radi?
You see, as I've told, Kirlian effect attracted a lot of attention worldwide. You can find now maybe tens or hundreds of books, papers published on Kirlian effect. But Kirlian effect wasn't scientific, because in science we have several strict rules. First of all, any scientific situation should be repeatable. So if we are measuring our temperature, blood pressure, parameters day by day, while we are healthy, it will be same in some range of variation. Second, any scientific event should be reproducible. Before any discovery done in some laboratory was not reproduced in other laboratories, confirmed by other scientists, it's not accepted to full extent. And you know, that's why sometimes it's so big gap between discovery and Nobel Prize. It may be many decades. And they said, but maybe last but not the least, in science we are using numbers. Without numbers, without mathematics, there are no science, modern science. So Kirlian effect was interesting, it was beautiful, it was nice pictures, but still it wasn't scientific and it wasn't well accepted. In principle, it was only one approach that was accepted in medicine. It was developed by Newton Milhomens in Brazil, and he developed a way how to make early diagnostic of some type of cancers. But later on, of course, now it's all gone, because he was using very special photofilm, very special way of processing, and now, of course, where would you find photofilm? Plus, of course, it's a very long process. So that is why, while I was doing this Kirlian effect and having a very good background, physical background, quantum physical background, I got understanding that we need to transform to new technology. And you know, it was 90s. First of all, it was collapse of Soviet system. Second, it was increase of computers And by that time, computers was more and more known to people, more and more popular. Third, it was clear that software engineering should be a very strong part of life and not to tell about science. That's why I came to the idea that we need to develop this Kirlian effect to a new stage. And by the mid-90s, I was able to do it with a team of good scientists. So I was in the university. I had very good technical background, physical background. I got some research before that in Kirlian effect to understand the physical principles. So for me it was clear what should be done to make it stable and reproducible. And we did it. So in 1995 we were able to create our first camera, and we named this effect as GDV, Gas Discharge Visualization. Of course it's scientific name. It was introduced in scientific papers, but we kept this name for a long time as GDV. But of course it's too complicated for people.
Što GDV kamera zapravo mjeri? U biti je reč o softverskom sustavu, kombinaciji kamere, kombinaciji softvera. Znači, kada ste uspjeli odlučiti što vam treba, pretpostavljam da ste shvatili i o čemu se radi.
We are measuring quantum effects. We are measuring photons and electrons stimulated by electromagnetic field. Let's imagine first we have, for example, leaf or crystal or just coin. We apply very short electrical impulse to this subject, and it stimulates emission of photons and electrons. So it is light, because light, it is photons. So we have light around this subject. And then we have camera, very special camera, to record this light, because this light mostly in ultraviolet range. It is partly invisible, but mostly in ultraviolet. That camera should be very specific. And then it is processing, computer processing, and then it comes software. Because one way just to capture picture. It's a picture, nice picture, same principle as we had in Kirlianove fotografije. But then we are using many parameters. So we calculate more than 30 parameters from one picture. And as I'm strongly involved in science of image processing, then I know how to extract and calculate those parameters. So those are geometrical parameters, fractal parameters, spectral parameters, and we combine them all together, and this way we extract information.
U čemu je tajna fantomskog lista, odnosno one pojave u kojoj se na Kirlijanovoj fotografiji dalje vidi otisak uda ili dijela nekog objekta koji nedostaje iz perspektive objašnjenja što to zapravo se mjeri GDV kamerom?
Now we can reproduce this phantom leaf with our technology, and we make not just picture, but we make video, how it looks like. Idea is as follows. When you cut leaf or cut your finger, then you have very strong active biophysical process. And this biophysical process is a process of creating very strong electrical field on the cutting edge. This attracts charges, first of all, then molecules that close this cut. And you know that if you're in good health, then the cut will be closed, and then it's no blood if you are not unhealthy. Same with leaf. So it is at this cut, after some time, it is special level, special layer that close this cut. And it's very similar process for our skin, for leaves as well. So what does it mean? It means it creates electrical field by itself. And with our system, we can detect this electrical field because it is projected in distance, depending on, of course, plant, depending on its health power. And it's projected in accordance with principle of organization of this plant. That's why if you have leaf, this projection has some geometrical form depending on this leaf. And we make a lot of experiments of this kind. I have some paper published on this somewhere, in some conference, because we can show this in dynamics as movie. And it's seen that when you, of course, leaf should be very carefully cut and just, it should be laying on the electrode, and then you see how it comes. So, again, it's a biophysical process of photons and electrons.
Da bismo malo oživjeli ovo o čemu sada pričamo, predlažem da prođemo kroz neke fotografije, da se vidi što se sve do sada snimalo GDV kamerom i da ponešto kažete o njoj. Primjerice, možete i komentirati vaše zaključke s obzirom da je riječ o raznim područjima. Konkretno, često puta na prezentacijama pokazujete jedan izbor slika, on se naravno mijenja od situacije do situacije, ali nisam mogao ne zapaziti recimo dirigenta, također zabilježenog GDV kamerom. Kakve su recimo osobine i značajke? Što se tu zbiva? Zbog čega slika izgleda baš tako?
You see, in our system, we extract information and then we present this information in understandable way. Because all my life I'm in science, so I'm used to graphs, I'm used to numbers, tables. For me it's understandable. But for lay people, of course, it's nonsense. It's very well known that if in popular book you use graphs, it reduces number of your readers to 20%. If you use tables, it's 20% more. People hate
formulas.
Yeah, formulas, of course, sure. So we understand that for people, information should be presented in understandable way, simple way. And that's why I developed this software that allows us to see energy field around the body. It's a model. It's computer model extracted from information. But this model is very informative because we see this, whether it is rounded, whether it is some gaps, some holes. In software, you can detect to which part of the body it reflects to. So we tell about this energy field, biological field, and now it's accepted notion. We tell about different energy of different organs and systems. And it gives us a lot of information, both from medical side and from physiological side. So, when we are measuring any process, we can measure people initially, and then we can see what's going on with them after something. It may be healing process. It may be medications. People take aspirin or some other medication. It may be some emotional state before and after. Or it may be listening to music. Because music is a very important part of our life. It's an important part of our civilization. It is everywhere now. And we have tremendous power to access to music. Anywhere you can have this earphone and listen to music being anywhere. So that is why it is important to understand how different type of music influence different people. And in particular, how it influences musicians. We have very interesting study in Russia. Two professors, top-level oncologists, they did big research. They collected data on longevity of people in different centuries and with different professions. And they demonstrated that musicians has the longest lifespan. So if you are in music, if you are surrounded by music, by frequency, then you have potential of long life. But at the same time, any concert, any presentation, musical, for musicians it's very tense and very hot. That's why when we're measuring conductor before conducting symphony and after, or we are measuring singer before and after opera, then we see huge decrease of energy, and it shows them that they spend a lot of physical and emotional power for this.
Eto, slikali ste i ljude sa mobilnim telefonima. Što su pokazale takve slike?
At my workshops, I make very simple experiments. With our camera, biowell camera, we ask people to sit, and we take readings from only one finger. 5 times, 5, 7 times. Then I give them mobile phone in their hand, and we repeat this measurement. Then I ask them, okay, now please call someone, keeping this in hand, just nearby head, no, just in hand, and we repeat measurement. And then I make a click, and people see graph. So 100% sure it was some line. Then when people keep this mobile phone hand, it drops down. When they turn it on, it drops down much more. So it means that, of course, we has strong influence of these mobile phones because it's some megahertz frequency. And when people keep this mobile phone nearby their heads, it is dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Eto, kroz ovih nekoliko slika koje se tiču i snimanja na grobljima i snimanja u, recimo, krugovima u žitu i pogotovo je zanimljivo snimanje zaljubljenih ljudi između čijih se prstiju zapravo vidi kako nekakve munje nastaju. Potom, recimo, snimanja ljudi prije, za vrijeme i poslije procesa iscijeljivanja. Sve to govore da smo stalno uključeni u te dinamične procese. No prije nego što dođemo na pitanje groblja i života i smrti, ostanemo malo kod pitanja kojim ste se također bavili, a s obzirom da nas ova tema direktno uvodi u to, a to je u biti pitanje sustava oko nas, pitanje, možemo reći, čak i svijesti. Zanimljivo je da ste 80. godina bili uključeni u telepatske eksperimente, ja mislim od 82. do 87. ako sam dobro zapamtio, ili do 89. koji su bili prevođeni u tadašnjem Sovjetskom savezu, to više i nije ništa novo. No u kakve ste to eksperimente bili uključeni koji su bili vezani u svijest i što se zapravo njima htjelo postići?
You see, in the 80s, both Soviet system, Soviet Union, United States had official programs to study different psyche phenomena, because it was a part of Cold War. And I should tell that in Soviet Union, this program was much more efficient, much more strong compared to the United States. Now we have a lot of papers published, books on this topic. United States was a lot of bureaucracy. It was difficult to make it. In Soviet system, if it was decided, then it was done. And I was part of this study, part of this research. It was top secret, of course, classified, but now this state, this country doesn't exist anymore, so now I can deliver this information. So we had a laboratory, and I was invited as a deputy director of this laboratory to establish telepathic communication with submarines and satellites, cosmic stations. Because you know that in both cases, it is very difficult to establish communication. So they were looking for something else. And we had big money, in principle unlimited money for research. We had very good equipment. We had very good team of people. We was able to select people from the country which seems to be interesting for us. And we developed this system. And for us, in the United States, the idea was that anybody can do this. We had another idea. From beginning, we believed that only some selected people can really be efficient in this process. Plus, our system was to select couples and to train them. Because only trained couples may establish strong communication. Later on, we found that same we have between couples who are in love. Again, they can establish very strong communication. Because in this process, people's brains come to resonance. It was established notion of virtual brain. It means that two separate brains that may be in different parts of the world, they are in resonance. They have very similar brain patterns. And that's why in this state, it's very easy to send message or information to each other. It's the same as now we have this system on quantum level, and we believe that it runs by quantum principles of this Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen effect. When there are different systems being in one quantum system, they exchange entangled information. So same here. And So after several years, we were able to develop very stable system, very strong system, but it was found that it's not practical at all, because it should be people doing this. And to have someone in submarine underwater for years doing nothing, just some mental effects in these closed compartments, of course it's very difficult.
Na koji način i do koje mjere su se uopće prenosile informacije? Negdje ste napisali da su se više prenosili osjećaji i doživljaji nego samo konkretne informacije. Znači, što je to koji tip informacije cirkulira između dva tako, kažemo, spregnuta mozga?
In our experimental approach, we were sending not images, not words, not just orders, but we were sending emotions. So one person is sitting in totally relaxed state, other person sending intention or emotion at some particular moment. And then we have this just response of technical system, because both people, they are wired to different technology, EEG, EKG, by the time GDV, and then we can see by response of sensors this transfer of information, and then it may be coded, of course, like Morse code. So later on, of course, I propose ideas that we need not people but sensors, and I've been developing different sensors on different physical principles. And it was very, very efficient, and the sensors now, we are producing these sensors. Now they are affordable to everybody.
Krajem 60-ih, početkom 70-ih u Sovjetskom savezu veliku pažnju je privukla gospođa kojoj se kasnije saznalo ime, Nina Kulagina, ispočetka je bila pod pseudonimom i postoji 60-ak filmova gdje se vidi na koji način ona miče, zapravo nju kako miče stvari raznih tipova ispod svih mogućih zaštitnih uređaja. Doista stotine znanstvenika su nju istraživali. U kom mjeru su se takvi telekinetički eksperimenti razvijeli 80-ih, dokle se stiglo, u kojoj mjeri su ljudi mogli utjecati na stvari, je li su ikad dostigli Ninu Kulaginu i koje bi bile praktično uopće namjene ako se o njima razmišljalo?
You see, I've seen Nina Kulagina because she was studied in our university, and it was Professor Dulnev, who was the head of big laboratory, who was a former rector by a university, who was the leader of this research. So I was partly participating in this. So I've seen how she's doing this. I've seen how she's moving needle of a compass, how she's moving some subjects, not touching them, how she can make a burn of a skin of people without touching them. Then I've seen other people who did it, who are doing this. So it's not just one person. There are many people who can do this in the world, in different countries. Still, we don't have, I would say, clear physical explanation of this. We have many theories, many ideas. We have many experiments. It's proven experimentally that's possible. And again, so I believe in the concept that it is based on quantum principles and quantum resonance. And we have now a big science of consciousness. So from parapsychology, now it's transformed finally to science. And it's a science of consciousness. So we have many laboratories in the world that are using different instrumentations to study this, I would say, mental effects to sensors. Because you can move matchbox or you can influence sensor. And it's much more interesting to influence sensor than to move a box.
70-ih su se pojavili u Europi ljudi sa dalekog istoka, neki indijski jogi, neki kineski majstori qigonga, i pokazivali su ono što je dio njihove tradicije, pa ste imali ljude, neki su njih bili tu u studiju, koji su 70-ih recimo pregazili parni valjak, pregazi čovjeka, ali njemu nije ništa. To je jedna tradicija koja možda čak ostaje iz one fakirske Indije gdje ljudi mogu ležati na čavlima i slično. Zanimljivo je da ste i vi u Americi sreli nekog takvog čovjeka na nekoj konferenciji koji, osim što je na nevjerojatan način vukao kamione, je u stvari mogao se i podignuti malo od tla. Gdje se i kad to dogodilo i kako je to u stvari izgledalo?
You see, again, you're absolutely right. Now we have training schools. We have many people who train people to make, seems to me, wonders. So we have schools in St. Petersburg where they teach people of different age to walk on coals, and they do this on different weekends. To lay on nails, it's easy. That's easy.
Čak i ugodno.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. More complex and more difficult, of course, they sit in Russian winter when it's really cold. They put wet blankets on their body and they dry them in half an hour. So it's, again, typical. So they do this training. So it is all possible. I've seen people who do wonders, for example, carry a truck with their body, a huge American truck, or suspend themselves in the air. This is more complex. It's a part of different Oriental traditions, Oriental training, because you know that there it was always this type of training. It wasn't suppressed like it was in Western countries. So we have this type of people in the world. And now even more than that, now a lot of them, they have their own schools. They train people how to do this, they teach people how to do this, and it has very practical implications. For example, in healing or self-healing.
Evo, nakon ovih nekoliko, rekao bih, trenutaka iz prošlosti, one discipline koja se često puta tako pogrešno nazivala parapsihologija, možemo skočiti na pitanje u stvari svijesti i života, jer to nas dovodi do, rekao bih, najekstremnijih istraživanja GDV-om i uređajima koji su slijedili GDV, jer vi naravno ste poslije razvijali druge uređaje pod raznim imenima. Dakle, pokušaj dokučivanja znanstvenog što se događa sa nečim, sa nekom esencijom nakon smrti. Mi znamo da imamo iskustva bliska smrti, da imamo razne meditacije, da imamo razna istraživanja od strane psihijatara, pitanja da li postoje prošli život ili ne. I naravno imamo tradicije koje govore nekakve upute u raznim religijama što se događa poslije. No, tim istim GDV-om vaša inače knjiga Svjetlo poslije života, koja je i u Hrvatskoj objavljena i u nekim drugim zemljama, upravo priča o istraživanju smrti i onime što ste vi pokušavali dokučiti. Kako ste i što zapravo htjeli sa GDV-om kada ste pokušavali u mrtvačnicama i drugdje snimati stvari? Kako ste to radili? A možda će negdje unutar tog odgovora se pojaviti i to klasično pitanje što je život i što je svijest uopće.
You know that this is question, topic that always was a question for humankind, for philosophers, for religious people. What's going on after death? Because inevitably all of us will come there. So that's why I was always interested in philosophy, in Oriental philosophy, Western philosophy. I was studying the history of religion, and that's why having our technology, by that time GDV technology, we were able to study human energy. And for me it was a question, what's going on after death? How this energy may be transformed? So it happened so that I was able to organize this research, and it was big research for more than a year, and it was a big team of medical doctors, scientists involved in this research. So it was done in our Institute of Forensic Study, and we were able to study bodies immediately after death. So it was very complicated work because we connected those people to technology, to our cameras, GDV cameras, later on biowell cameras, and we made a recording of them every hour. So every hour, our people from our team, they were coming day and night and took readings. Plus, of course, it was in special room with nobody around. It was controlled temperature, humidity, so we were able to keep these bodies for 6-7 days practically intact. And then, of course, I made a lot of conclusions from this study. For me, it was very strong transformation. I wrote a book about this, and somehow this book became very popular worldwide. Now it's published on many different languages in different countries, and I'm happy that now we have this here in Croatia as well.
Što ste u stvari otkrili? U knjizi spominjete nekoliko razina dojmova. Neki od njih su vaši osobni, koje ste nazvali, ovo su moje subjektivne doživljaje i interpretacije, koji svjedoče o trenucima jeze i straha kada ljudi ulaze u mrtvačnice. Kao što ste rekli, svi to dolje osjećaju, osim onih koji su počeli piti. Tako da vidimo da ta situacija psihološki nije laka. Pričali ste o osjećaju prisutnosti udaljenom nekoliko metara i u isto vrijeme ste i mjerili vrhove prstiju od ljudi koji su umrli raznim tipovima smrti. Nasilnom smrti, prirodnom smrti, iznenadnom smrti i sl. Kada biste pokušali sažeti svoja otkrića, što su zapravo ona pokazala po pitanju te nekakve esencije, da tako kažemo, po pitanju komunikacije ili pitanja kada je uopće čovjek umire, po pitanju općenito tog jednog osjećaja, čak ste opisali psihičke iscrpljenosti u takvim prostorima za koje pretpostavljate da ipak nije od mrtvih nego od te granice koja se tu na neki način briše. I dosta je to u stvari slikovito, zanimljivo, mada rekao bih i jezovito na momente može biti. Pa ukratko, što su pokazala ta istraživanja po pitanju razlika u umiranjima, po pitanju nekih drugih pokazatelja koji govore o trajnosti nečega nakon smrti, ako je to uopće moguće dohvatiti GDV kamerom?
You see, now in criminology, it is very well several methods how to measure time of death. Because they are measuring temperature, and it's some line coming down, of course. And if they are measuring temperature of some body at some particular moment, they can recalculate when it was dying, depending on conditions of preservation. So my idea was to measure dynamic process and to see whether it will be this declining line, then it would be nothing interesting, or it would be something else. So that is why, as I mentioned, we did many research, many studies in the book. I described not all of them, but just some of them. And it was many experiences with this. Again, it's described in the book. Plus, I give a lot of connotations to different religions, to different philosophical ideas, what's going on. But the main conclusion was as follows. After this, it's not just the end, abrupt end of everything. It is transition. It is transition from one state to another state, from one, I would say, dimension to another dimension. So it is the process that how it's coming. And this process has many inner rules that we don't understand even yet. But it is clear that it depends on how people was living, how they came to their death, and, of course, a lot, how their process after death. That is why we know that in many religious traditions, it is very special attitude, what should be done after death with body, and how body should be processed. And of course it's absolutely different in different traditions, in different religions, in different cultures, in different parts of the world, depending on a lot of situations.
Koliko dana poslije smrti je još moguće izmjeriti, nazovimo to, životnom energijom? To je ono isto zračenje koje mjerite obično GDV kamerom. Koji su ti pikovi za koje ste rekli da u stvari su učinili stvar zanimljivom?
We were able to measure only for 6 days, 7 sometimes in maximum, because later on they had to be taken to autopsy. But we can take measurement at cemeteries, and we did a lot of measurements in cemeteries. And at cemeteries we clearly see response of different sensors. So it means, for me it is clear, and I presented this idea, discussed this idea, that in some cases, not in all cases, in some cases these spirits or energy fields of possessed people, they don't come away. They are still somewhere. They still has communication with our reality. Of course, it's maybe strange when I'm a scientist and I talk about this, but it is measurement. It's our experience. And we have sensors that allow to take this measurement in different places, in cemeteries, in old churches, in ancient religious places, And we see this response, we see these effects. So that's why I believe that life is not as simple as it seems to be. It's multi-layer. And now we have this concept in cosmophysics. We have this concept of average multi-dimensional space, that it's not just only one universe that we are living in, but there are many universes. They live in parallel. And I think that it's clear idea, I would say, hypothesis, that after death, energy field, spirit transform to another dimension, to another parallel universe.
U knjizi ste napisali da se zapravo zračenja živih i mrtvih uopće ne razlikuju, barem iz prva. Što se može reći po pitanju različitih vrsta smrti, kao što ste rekli, iznenadna, nekog pregazi auto, nasilna, netko je ubijen, od starosti i slično. Što su pokazala, kakve razlike su se pokazale u mjerenjima tih, da kažemo, energija u prijelazu?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It is different type of death and different response to these different types. So it's all in the book, so it's easy to find. What's more interesting, that I'm sure that now we have very big science about this transition. You know, now it's a lot of data about near-death experiences. We've done some measurement of dying people. And again, we've seen this transition. We have many evidences from different people who was in this process of near-death experiences. And again, we have this situation. Now we have more and more research on this topic. So it's a very complicated question. That's why we need to collect data. It was maybe some stage, some process with our instruments, and I'm looking forward to proceed this research. Now I was able several times to make it, maybe we'll be able to make it again. But it's a part of complex study of consciousness and transformation of consciousness in different situations.
Spomenuli ste fotografije na grobljima i u crkvama. Među njima su i ikone. Jedna od takvih fotografija zapravo se može vidjeti na prezentacijama. Što se tu pokazuje na takvim mjestima? Što GDV kamera pokazuje na takvim mjestima koja su uvijek bila, a na neki način puno značenja za ljude?
Now we're using so-named bio camera. It's our latest development, and it's top-level technology that we are having now. And this bio camera has sensor that may be attached to the camera, and the sensor is named as Sputnik, because it looks like first Russian Sputnik. And this sensor was developed after, as I mentioned, many years of my research in Soviet Union, in different development. It allows to record response of environment to different situations. It's some physical description, I can give it, but it's very complicated physical process, but we have some understanding of this process. That's why we can take readings in different parts of the world, in different places. And of course, it's interesting to have it in places of some specific energy. And what does it mean? First of all, it is some religious, old religions, buildings, subjects. You know that in Russia, in our Orthodox Church, we have icons. And some icons, they are very old. For example, one of the icon, it was presented to Russian dukes in 12th century from Byzantium, and was kept in Moscow from that time. And of course, it's considered in Russia as like holy icon. And this icon in Soviet time, it was given to Tretyakovsky Gallery, to the museum. Later on, it was given back to the church. So I was lucky, and I was allowed to take measurement nearby this icon for the whole Sunday ceremony. And it was clear response of sensor staying in the corner to all the moments of this Sunday service. Then I've done measurement with the same sensor in different parts of this church. It was a big difference, absolutely clear difference. So it was two different signals. Then I've done measurements with several days and different cemeteries. And again, it was big difference. So same, I did measurement in many religious places of the world. In England, in Cambodia, in Peru, in Russia, in far north of Russia, yes, in many, many countries. And everywhere I was looking for some ancient places, some places of worship, and to see what's the type of energy over there.
I kakav je bio? Uvijek drugačiji od ostatka? Ili još po nečemu poseban?
Yes, every place where people have religious buildings, place of worship, it has very, very special energy, very specific energy.
Na kraju knjige se dotičete, dakle, ova tema dohvaća puno drugih tema. Bavite se pitanjima života, čime su se bavili na kraju fizičari poput Ervira Schrödingera koji je napisao knjigu Što je život, pitanjima svijesti, pitanjima tradicije, što tradicije govore o pravilima umiranja. Tako da se, naravno, i eksperimentalne, oni dosadni dijelovi za one koji žele znati malo više sadrže i podatke koji su i mjestimično u tabelama. No, na kraju se dolazite do pitanja koncepta svemira gdje opet se pojavljuje taj pojam jednog holografskog svemira, o čemu su u stvari kao pioniri bili Karl Pribram, David Bohm, poslije neki drugi. Pa se danas taj model zove ponekad i holografsko-fraktalni, iz razloga koje ćete, nadam se, objasniti. Drugim riječima, kako su vas vaše istraživanja oblikovala u smjeru razmišljanja o strukturi svemira i zbog čega vam se takav model na temelju vaših iskustava istraživanja čini, što ga u stvari potvrđuje, što nam on govori o nama i o svijetu oko nas i naše vezi s njim?
You see, of course, we have two parts of our modern science. We have experimental part and we have theoretical conceptual part. Because science is the way how scientists create models of environment. And in all the history of science, we had different models. Some of them became real, some of them became just imagination. But we have some established models that we understand in physics. And, for example, this is a model of Newton. It's absolutely true. He was genius. But this model has some limitation. Then it was a model of quantum mechanics. It is true, but it has some limitations. Then it was a model of Einstein. It was a tremendous achievement, he was genius, but it's some limitations. Then it was now a string model of universe. Again, it has some implications and some limitations. Lately, we had tremendous, I would say, transformation of cosmophysics and all this understanding of physics, because it was experimentally proven existence of dark matter and dark universe. And it takes biggest part of our universe. What does it mean? It's unclear. You know that Einstein, in his equations, he got this idea of dark matter, but he came to the idea that it's improbable, that it's unlikely to have it. So he just cut it off. But now it's proven that it is so. So there are so many different, I would say, models of the universe. We have holographic model, we have fractal model. It's one of the models. It's interesting, it gives some interesting vision, but before it will be proven by experiment, then it will be just models. I belong to experimental part. I like to touch with my hands, I like to make some experiments, I like to develop different technology, to have some graphs, and then to see how it is correlated with different models. So of course, now we live in a very interesting time, because we have, I would say, crash of paradigm in science. Everything that was considered like true, like iron, true, now we see it's fake. Not fake, but it's changing. We need to change tremendously paradigm. And of course, the first question, what does mean consciousness? Because consciousness is not included in our science. And That is why we need to create this science of consciousness and include this science of consciousness in the paradigm of the universe.
Kada već pričate o propadanju paradigmi, za koje paradigme mislite da nastaju?
Now, as I mentioned, we have new vision of our life and universe. In cosmophysics, they are creating new concepts of universe. What does it mean? In physics, we are coming more and more close to understanding of vacuum and energy extracted from vacuum. In water science, we have absolutely new water science, and our book just was published, The Emerging Science of Water. And we discuss there with Professor Vayekov from Moscow University new discoveries in water science. So next, of course, topic, it is consciousness, as I mentioned, because now in 21st century we have big research in consciousness, very big research in different laboratories, in neuroscience, and because now we have increase of brain cancer, increase of Alzheimer, of different brain diseases, and we need to understand what does it mean, how to deal with this, what to do with autistic children, what to do with different children who have unusual behavior. So that is very, very important part. And of course, another topic, it's our understanding of history. Again, we are coming to understanding that all that is written in textbooks, it is true, but to some extent. That big part of history is missing from our understanding. So, you see, it's exciting time and it's very interesting to live in this time.
Trebala bi još jedna emisija da vidimo koji to dijelovi povijesti nedostaju, no možda ima vremena da objasnite temeljna načela onog što ste nazvali nastajuća znanost o vodi. Što je to tako novo i bitno po pitanju vode?
Yeah. From here, from Zagreb, I'm flying to Sofia. Well, we have next conference on physics and chemistry of water. At this conference will be several hundred scientists, plus TV, plus journalists, because now it's understandable that we can prove with experiment, with theory, quantum field theory, that water has memory, water has structure, and this is beneficial for our life. So it's not just pure theory, but it's very clear practical topics. So we have devices how to structure water, and they are being produced in different countries. With these devices, only with device, we can increase productivity of crops to 30–40%. We can increase productivity of chicken for 50% and make them much more healthy. And of course we can make ourselves healthier, because water, it's the basis of life. Water, it is life. We can live long time without food, but we can't live without water. That is why now we have quantum electrodynamic theory of water, created by a genius Italian physicist. We have many experimental data that demonstrate us how water keeps this memory, how it keeps this structure, and we have very direct experiments how we can detect this structure, in particular using our technology. And in Sofia it will be big exhibition of different devices, and we present our new device by a element that allows to see the structure of water.
Pa eto, kad se sve spojilo, predlažem da vodom nazdravimo daljnje uspjehe u snimanju GDV kamerom. Živjeli. I hvala na gostovanju, nadam se da će ga biti još ako opet dođete u ove krajeve. I do neke sljedeće prilike. Doviđenja.
Thank you. Because for me it's a tremendous pleasure being here. I like this country, I like people in this country, and for me it's always nice to come to this part of the world.